everybody, it's Nell with Little Yellow House Crafts and welcome back to my channel. It's good to be with you again. It's been a while. Sorry it's been a few weeks longer than I usually care to go, but I wasn't able to film 2 weeks ago. My boys and I had an impromptu trip out to visit my parents. Here's what happened. So my sister lives in Seattle and she and her husband are expecting a baby. And because of that, they have other kids as well, and they needed a bigger vehicle. And her in-laws, who live in Las Vegas, had a bigger van that they were going to give to them. So my sister and her husband flew from Seattle to Vegas to pick up this van for their family, and then they had to drive it back home to Seattle. And on that drive home, they decided to stop over at my parents' house. At that time, where my parents live, the COVID warning had gone to a yellow level warning from orange, basically meaning that groups of 50 or less are permitted to gather. And so my sister and her husband decided, we're gonna go see Grandma and Grandpa. And she called me and told me they were doing that, and I just kind of spur of the moment decided, you know what, we're coming too. So I flew my other sister out here to Missouri. She just graduated university during all of this craziness. She's one of those COVID graduates. So she graduated, so I flew her out here to meet us, and then she was my helper as we drove the 18 hours out to visit my parents. My husband had to work, so he had to stay here, and we had a little week-and-a-half trip to Grandma and Grandpa's house. It was wonderful. My kids had a blast. They got to play with their cousins for a week and a half, all day, every day. My dad just recently retired, so Grandpa was around and they helped him garden and they swam out in the pool and the slip and slide. I mean, we just had a marvelous time, and it was such a good mental health break for me as mom after so many months of kind of being stuck at home. And it was great. We didn't really go anywhere. I mean, coronavirus is still a thing, and so we just kind of camped out at my parents' house and quarantined together for the week and a half. And then when it was time to come home, my husband flew out to meet us, and then he drove home with us over the weekend. And we got back to Missouri, and nobody got sick. As far as we're aware, nobody's gotten sick, and we tried to be really careful on the trip. I don't want you to feel like we weren't taking it seriously, but it was a really good mental health break for me and for our kids. So that's why I wasn't able to film 2 weeks ago, and I'm back now. So this is going to be a longer video because I need to wrap up my Maynia, and then I also need to show you everything I've been working on ever since Maynia, because today is June 14th, so we're about halfway through June already. I can't believe how fast this is going. This month is flying by. So yeah, that's kind of a quick update. We're all doing great. We are gearing up to start our new homeschool year on July 1st. So we homeschool year round from July 1st to June 30th. And that's because it gives us more flexibility. We can take more days off throughout the year when we homeschool year round. And so we are gearing up to start our new school year on July 1st. So I've been organizing curriculum and making sure we have everything we need. We're not making any huge crazy changes to our homeschool routine because what we've been doing has worked really well for us. And yeah, that's for those who are interested. I know there are a few homeschool mamas out there. We are using The Good and the Beautiful for language arts and handwriting. We are using Singapore Math for my oldest, and then we are supplementing kind of Charlotte Mason style read alouds and art and poetry and music and things like that throughout the week. So that's a brief rundown of how we do it. We also have decided this year to supplement reading eggs and math seeds. They're online kind of games that little kids can play that work on reading skills, phonics, sight word practice, just building up their reading skills, since both of my boys are reading now, but still at a very, early level of reading. And so we're just trying to build up confidence at this point. And then math seeds, which just builds basic, arithmetic skills. So anyway, we're gonna supplement with that. That's all I'll say about homeschooling because we're here for stitching. I have so much to show you and I'm not even sure where to start. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by wrapping up Maynia. So let me grab my notes. here's my notes for Mania. The last project I showed you for Mania was my Live Within Your Harvest flapjack pillow by Hands On Design, and thank you all for your suggestions about what to do about that darker blue. I think I'm gonna pull it out. I think the general consensus is it's getting lost and kind of muddy, so I'm gonna pull out that darker blue and put in a lighter, brighter blue, maybe closer to what's shown in the chart. So yeah, thank you all for your suggestions. It actually is helpful to me to kind of get other people's opinions, because sometimes I second guess myself. So thank you for that. So that was the last thing I showed you. One effect of us going out to visit my parents is that I wasn't able to take any big projects. So I wasn't able to take anything big with me. So I had to kind of set aside my plans to work on Liberty's Welcome and the Heirloom Nativity Sampler, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the next thing that I pulled out on May 17th, I had a new start, and I started Star Spangled Swine Farm, also by Hands On Design, in conjunction with Priscilla from the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch. And if you haven't seen it, this is Star Spangled, so much lighting. Here is Star Spangled Swine Farm. Sorry for the glare. Maybe I think this side works better, yes. There we go. Star Spangled Swine Farm. So I am doing the big one. I probably will eventually do the smaller pieces as well, but I'm starting with the big one. And let me show you where I got. I'm stitching this, as I mentioned before, on 32 count charcoal linen by Zweigart. And this is where I got just the top left corner. And it's so cute. Let me fold it so that it's not so see-through. There you go. That's as far as I got. This is adorable. And I'm going to be real honest with you guys. I wasn't sure, within the first about an hour of stitching, I wasn't sure I was enjoying it. I was like, it's kind of boring and I just don't know. And then I started adding in these colors and I fell in love. I absolutely love it. I should never have doubted Priscilla or Kathy because, so cute. I'm really enjoying this. I am not stitching it with the fancy floss. I am using the DMC conversion mostly. There were a few DMCs that I didn't have, and so I did my own substitutions for DMC that were pretty close. But I mean, the colors are pretty similar to what's charted in the chart for the DMC conversion. So I am using the DMC. And these bright blues and these reds are my favorite. I think I've shown you those before. Anyway, so that is Star Spangled Swine Farm by Hands On Design. I got to work on that for 2 days in May, and I have not come back to it yet, but I am eager to get back to that one because I really like it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Then on the 19th, May 19th, I started my Lizzie K Jingles series. This is a series by Lizzie K. There are 12 charts in the series that you can stitch individually or you can stitch in one long thing. And it's the same idea as the Tingles series, which is the Halloween one. And so I started Jingles, which is the Christmas one, and I started with Deck the Halls. I am stitching this, just so you know, I'm stitching this on 32 count Vintage Winter Sky by Lakeside Linen. This is a linen, it's kind of a soft lavender gray, and you can see there, 32 count Vintage Winter Sky by Lakeside. This linen was gifted to me by a viewer, a couple of years ago now, and it's just beautiful for this. And I didn't get that far, but this is where I got to on Jingles. I really like these colors on this lavender. I think it's gonna look so Christmassy and fun. And so that's where I got. This white stuff right here is the beginning of the next chart, which has Rudolph on it. And I needed to do that to make sure I was centered and had enough fabric cut. I'm good to go. But yeah, so that is, let me get closer here. That's Lizzie K Jingles. That's as far as I got. Yeah. and I'm enjoying it. I really like stitching on lakeside linen. And it's hard to find right now, so it's precious linen. That was Jingles. That was the 19th. Worked on that for 2 days, but we were driving across the country during those 2 days, so I didn't get as much stitching time as I might normally. Then I started on the 21st of May, I started yet another hands-on design chart. I started, this is a newer one, Humble Honey. This came out at market this year. Really sweet, Humble Honey. It's the bee's knees. Really quick stitch. I started this on the 21st. I have since pulled it back out and worked on it some more, and I'm really close to having this done. Also stitched on 32 count charcoal linen by Zweigart. It's on my Q-snap right now with some white thread hanging off of it. You see I've got Humble Honey, and I'm working on that. So all I have left to do is the bee's knees thing at the bottom. I just need to finish the white all the way across with it's the, and then that line. And then I just need to do bee's knees, and it's finished. I only have white left. I've finished with all the colors. There are only 4 colors in this chart. The white, and then this gold, and then a green and a blue. And so I chose my own colors because that's what I do. I'm just using DMC Blanc for my, ooh, glare, DMC Blanc for my white. There we go. I'm using Gentle Arts Corn Husk for my green. Victorian Motto Multi-Shaded Blue for my blue. And then Victorian Motto Cinnamon Bread for my golden brown. Yeah, and that's it. Humble Honey, this is the one I'm kind of currently working on because I decided I just wanted to get it done. It's very small and probably only need like 1 more day of work on that and it'll be finished. Then on the 23rd, oops, I just kicked something over. Hold on. Pause, please. There we go. On the 23rd, I started Patriotic House Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. After my disappointing experience starting the Easter House Trio and not liking my colors, I was very careful about choosing colors for this one. This is Patriotic House Trio by Waxing Moon Designs, and I started with the top one that says America. I am stitching this on 32 count vintage smoky white. You can see the sticker there at the bottom. 32 count vintage smoky white Belfast linen. And this is where I got. So more of the border, lots of border, America, and then all these fun stars. And that's as far as I got. Ooh, that's a really good shot of the fabric. That is what the fabric looks like. It's basically a nice off-white with some of that grayish modeling in a real subtle modeling of it. Does that make sense? That was not grammatically clear at all, but that's what the fabric looks like. So that was Patriotic House Trio. Started that, and for the colors I am using a whole host of things. Beautiful kind of more primitive muted Americana colors. Really loving it. It's mostly Victorian Motto, but just really quickly, dark chili peppers, Victorian shawl, a golden harvest, sunshine glory, garden glory, yucca plant. Oops, I got 2 in there. I'm using Classic Colorworks Blacksmith Blue is my border blue, and I have 2 of those on there. Pilgrim Blue by Victorian Motto is my lighter blue. Gentle Arts Soot is my gray. Weeks Dye Works Rust is my brown. And then Victorian Motto Bread Dough is my white, off-white color. So really like these colors. It's very kind of vintage Americana looking. And I'm much happier with these colors than I was with my Easter House Trio colors, so I think I will go ahead and do all 3 of these houses instead of stopping after the first one. That was that. On the 25th, I started Tingles number 3. This is another Lizzie Kate series. and I had finished the first two. Ghosties and Ghoulies and Haunted were already done. And then I pulled out number 3, which is October 31st. So I had these two done up here and I started this one. And this was a fast one. And I got it completely done. October 31st. The only thing that's not in yet are the eyes of the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern, because those are beads. And I'm not putting in any of the beads until all the stitching's done. So he looks a little freaky right now. This is stitched on 32 count Ale by Picture This Plus, which is a great Halloween fabric. P.S. Anyway, so that's October 31st. Got that one completely done. So that one is my Mania finish number 2. Because I finished also in like the first week of Mania, I started and finished my Lizzie K Blocks with Charm May. So that was finish number 1. And this, my Tingles number 3, was finish number 2. So started and finished that in the 2 days that I had. That was nice. 3 more. On the 27th, I started my Country Cottage Needleworks October Cottage. I'm getting close to finishing this series, guys. I have January through September done, and for Mania I started October on the 27th, and I didn't get too terribly far on it, but far enough to, you know, a decent start on the house there. And that's it. That's as far as I got on the October Cottage. Nothing too fancy to say about that. I'm stitching that, as I've stitched all of them, on 32 count Dirty linen by Belfast. 32 count Dirty Belfast linen by Zweigart. Again, picked my own colors. They're a royal mess. Please forgive my threads. I've got Classic Colorworks Mossy for my green, Gentle Arts Brandy for kind of my lighter brown, Weeks Dye Works Pecan or Pecan for my darker brown. I'm using Old Biscuit Tin by Victorian Motto for kind of my grayish. The side of the house, the house is white, but the side of the house that's in shadow is in this kind of grayish color. So Old Biscuit Tin, and then just DMC White for my white. And for my orange, I'm using Weeks Dye Works Carrot, which is totally blowing out right now, but there you go. Weeks Dye Works Carrot. So those are my colors for the October Cottage. I don't really have anything to say about that. I enjoy stitching those, and I'm getting excited that I can like taste the end of that series. I'm getting pretty close. Then on the 29th, we've only got 2 left. On the 29th, I started September by the Snowflower Diaries. This is a free series, and again, I've been working my way through them, and I can taste the end of this series too. I have January through August done in this series, and I started September for Stitch Mania. It's 2 little owls. I think they're barn owls. So cute. And I'm stitching this on 28 count linen. So that's a Cashel linen by Zweigart in the color Millennium Blue. And that's as far as I got. Just working on the owls, the bellies of the owls. And that's just all one color. And that's what I did for that start. So not too far on that. Again, as always, I've chosen my own colors. I will show you. These are really pretty. These are such a pretty, like, autumny color palette, which is so appropriate for September. There's a nice yellow in there. Yeah, and then all of these browns and creams for the owls. So that is my color palette for September. It's going to be so pretty, and I think it's going to pop so nicely on that blue. Oranges and blues are complementary colors, and so when you stitch with orange on blue or with blue on orange, really pops and looks really good together. So That's September by the Snowflower Diaries. That was on the 29th of May. And then finally on the 31st of May to finish up my Maynia. I can't believe I did it. I did the whole month, every other day, starting something new. I started my last Prairie Schooler mini Halloween chart. Double double. This is the last one of the 4 of these that I have done. And I'm stitching all of these on 25 count Lugana in the color Ivory, I think. 25 count Ivory Lugana. And I'm stitching them with the DMC, but I'm stitching 3/2. And this is as far as I got. Got kind of a lot done on this. Like the top quarter, top 5th of the chart maybe. That top border, and then I started going down into the witch on one of the witches. So that is my last start for Stitch Mania. Quick thing with this, stitching on 25 count 3/2 absolutely gobbles up floss. I've gone through probably 4 or 5 skeins of DMC 3371 in the process of stitching all of these, the 3 that I've done previously. It uses a lot of floss, and I do go down to a size 24, or this might even be a 22 needle. I can't remember if this is a 24 or 22. When you're stitching with that many strands of thread, you need a bigger needle, otherwise it just shreds your thread, pulling it through the holes. Using a bigger needle opens the holes up a little better, and then you don't get as much shredding and fluffing of your thread. Even DMC, which usually doesn't fluff or shred, it will when you're stitching with that many strands. So I highly recommend, if you're going to stitch on 25 count 3/2, go to a bigger needle. Anyway, so that's Prairie Schooler. I'm not going to show you the threads because they're just the called for DMCs. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the end of my Maynia. I did it. I started, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 projects in the month of May, one every other day for the entire month. And I have 2 done, and then one more is almost done. Humble Honey will be done probably the next day or 2. So 3 finishes of the 16 that I started is not too shabby. I didn't start anything really huge, so that makes it nice and easy to get some finishes. Okay, that was Maynia. So now let's talk about stitching since then. I have not stitched as much in the last 2 weeks for a couple of reasons. One, I think I was kind of burned out from Maynia a little bit. Also, I've been working on something else that I'm going to show you now. And that is, I have been fully finishing stuff. If you guys remember, during quarantine, the last 3 months, I was stitching like a maniac, like 8 finishes a week, crazy, finishing all these small pieces. And I had this huge stack of finished stuff sitting on my craft table, and it started making me feel a little bit, and so I decided to do some full finishing, like fully finishing stuff. And that is what I have been primarily working on for the last week and a half, because I have finished a lot. So buckle up, here we go. None of these are actually done yet, because I'm still working on, I need to purchase some more like floral picks to finish things kind of a la Priscilla Blaine. And they have not gone on sale yet at Hobby Lobby in the last 2 weeks. I think they're probably going on sale this week, the floral picks. The thing about floral at Hobby Lobby is they divide it up into like 4 or 5 different departments, and they don't all go on sale at the same time. So sometimes the wedding stuff, the wedding floral goes on sale, and the stem floral goes on sale. And then the next week it'll be the bunches of flowers, but not the floral picks or the garlands. And then the week after that, it'll be the floral picks and the garlands. So I just go back every week and get whatever is on sale for 50% off to gather my bits and pieces. But all of that to say, I'm not done fully finishing these, but they're pretty close and I'm really happy with how they look. First, I only have 1 of these done, but I decided to start with this. I fully finished my Brenda Gervais April wordplay. And I decided to finish this with not like hardly any extra fabric showing around it, and I'll show you So there you can see. This is April Wordplay by Brenda Gervais, and I just finished it on mat board and then put a backing mat board on it with some fabric over it. And I'm going to talk about how I do that in a minute, because I know some people feel intimidated by that. And I did too when I first tried it, but I've got tricks, tips and tricks for you, some hacks to make it easier. So this is Brenda Gervais, April Wordplay. I just backed it with this cute blue gingham homespun fabric I found at Hobby Lobby. And I am Priscillifying these in that I want to be able to switch them out. So I glued some magnets on the back. And this is a beautiful antique. I found this at an antique store. It wasn't too terribly expensive, but it's really cool to me. This is an actual old slate. Like, this is actual slate, the stone slate. That was used by students doing their schoolwork, I don't know, 100 years ago, not even 100 years ago. I'm not sure when slates kind of went out, probably when paper became less expensive. But regardless, this is an actual old antique slate, so it's pretty hefty, and it's slate on both sides. You can see I've glued washers onto this side because this is the side that I'm sticking my pieces onto. When I found it, someone had already whitewashed the wooden border on it, so I didn't have to do anything to it. It does have a little hole that someone drilled into the back, probably as like a hanging thing, but that's not what I'm going to do with it. And let me just show you. A la Priscilla Blaine, I have magnetized this onto the slate so I can change it out month to month. And there's still, I put it deliberately a little bit lower than the middle so that I can also magnetize a little floral pick with bows or whatever to change out to match the stitching every month. And how I'm going to display this, I was walking through Hobby Lobby a couple of weeks ago, and in the spring shop, they had this beautiful white easel. And it's got this pretty, it's kind of antiqued, you can see. It's white, but with some dark, like wrought iron. It's wrought iron. It feels like wrought iron. It's pretty sturdy. And this is what I'm using to display my slate. It's just perfect. It's the perfect color, the white with the wrought iron black showing through. There you go. Matches the actual slate piece so nicely, and it's the perfect size. It fits it just great. So that is how I'm going to be displaying these. Like I said, it's not done yet. I'm still working on kind of the embellishments for it, but the actual piece is finished in just kind of a flat finish. And for finishing my pieces in this flat finish, which is pretty much exclusively what I do, you're going to see, I have followed tutorials from Vonna, the Twisted Stitcher, who's a very experienced finisher, and she has videos that she puts up on her channel where she shows how she does some finishing things. And then obviously Priscilla, because I love her style and I love kind of the way she does things. I tend to be a little bit more bright in my color choices than Priscilla is, but you'll be able to see I'm heavily influenced by Priscilla in finishing things. So that was my first one. Next, let's talk about these. I have 4 of these done. These are the Year in Chalk by Hands On Design, and they're very small and simple, and so I just went ahead and finished them up. This is January, and I finished it using the same blue, light blue homespun gingham. Let's get closer so you can see. As I did for the April Wordplay, so that was January. For February, pink floral. I just wanted the backing to kind of match. For March, I did this lime green polka dot. That was so cute. And then for April, a yellow floral. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the flowers. There they are. Just a nice, like, buttery yellow floral, and it's so blown out. Hold, please. There we go. Okay, so that is April from the Hands On Design Wordplay. And the way these have not had magnets glued onto them yet. I'm still working on all the embellishments, as I am with everything I'm going to show you. This is another thing I found when I was walking around Hobby Lobby. I don't remember if this was at the spring shop or what. I can't remember where it was, and I already took the sticker off, so I apologize. But this is a little blackboard easel. It has a chain. On the back side it has cork board, but I'm going to be using the blackboard side. And it just stands up, and it is the perfect size for these. Look at how cute that is. And the blackboard kind of mimics the gray fabric. I just really like it. I think it looks really good. I briefly toyed with painting the wood border on this like a whitewash color, but then I decided not to, because I'm a little more eclectic in my decorations, and I don't want everything to be white. I already have that white slate, and I don't want all of my decorations to be white. So I think I'm gonna keep this brown. I think I like the wood. And yeah, these just are gonna be magnetized on with magnets and washers, and then there's gonna be a bow up here and probably a few little flowers. That'll change out from month to month. So that was the 4 Year in Chalk by Hands On Design, and I fully finished those. I am gonna say, for those of you who offer finishing services to people, I don't know how you do it, because after about 3 or 4 days of stretching and gluing all of these things, my fingers were completely shot. They were sore and the skin was peeling off of them. It's hard work. Props to those of you who finish things for people. Okay, next series. I have 5 of these done, and I decided to go ahead and finish them. And these are the Lizzie K Blocks with Charm. I have January through May done. May was my very first Stitch Mania finish, and it has been fully finished. With these, I decided to do a double backing. So the stitching, and then it's on one backing piece and then another backing piece. And so this is January. So cute. And then I have February. So pink. So you guys can see. Heavily influenced by Priscilla in the way she like backs all of her pieces, but I tend to go for slightly brighter colors, which is just, you guys know that if you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that's my aesthetic. Here's March. This is yellow. It's blowing out a little bit. There you go. That's the color. Yellow and green. That's March. April. It's aqua and then purple polka dots. And this is aqua fabric with little gold strawberries. So that's April. And then May. So cute. So those were the series of Blocks with Charm. For these, also not completely done yet. I need to do the embellishments and I need to glue the magnets on. But I found this in the spring shop. I know this was in the spring shop at Hobby Lobby. This is a little milk jug. It's like a fake milk jug, and it's like half of a milk jug. Oh, the sticker's still on this. Spring shop. $19.99. The spring shop was 50% off when I bought it, so it cost me $10. It's metal, so the magnets will stick directly onto it. I won't have to glue washers, and it's the perfect size for my little Lizzie K Blocks with Charm. Look at how perfectly that fits on there. And honestly, guys, what I do is I just take my stitching with me to the store and I just wander around and look and see what I can find. That would be cute. And the fun thing about this is that I can stick flowers in the top rather than on the piece, and change the flowers on the top inside the actual jug. I can change those out every month, and I don't have to glue anything. It's less commitment. I can change them out, just stick a couple of picks in there just as they are. I don't have to cut them, don't have to glue them, nothing. So I still need to do the magnets on these, but that is my Lizzie K Blocks with Charm and the way I'm gonna display them on that little metal jug. So that is 5, that's 10 finishes, 10 fully finished things. I guess I can't call them fully finished yet because I still have to do the embellishments, but I have backed and glued those suckers and I'm considering that fully finished. Whoops. My last one, my last series, this is the big one. Guys, it's so exciting. Remember how I just started my very last, or not my very last, my third to last cottage for the Country Cottage Cottages of the Month? I finished the first 8 of them. 9 of them. 9 of them! Because I have January through September done. So I have now 9 of these fully finished. Once again, I did my flat finishing with the fabric. I chose to do a double backing on these, and here they are. January. I used that same kind of navy snowflake fabric that I used in my Lizzie K one for January, and this gray and white stripe. So that's January. Let's put it there. We have February. Pinks and white with pink polka dots. That's February. March with yellow and then this green homespun gingham I found at Hobby Lobby. There's March. April, more green floral and then these purple polka dots again. April. May, which is one of my favorites. Remember, I changed my cottage to be yellow for the month of May, and I did this yellow bumblebee fabric and then pink gingham. It's so cute. I love this one. May. June. Darker green, and then this red fabric that has little gold ladybugs. I found that at Joann's. So that's June. July, which is probably my favorite one. July is also my favorite month because it has my birthday in it. But July is so cute. Okay, so I use this like navy blue micro polka dot and then this red and white gingham. Oh, it's so cute. That's July. 2 more. August, peach and aqua, because this is the beachy one. So this peach floral. And then this aqua that has, you probably can't see them, they're kind of hard to see, these little gold anchors all around it. There you go. You can see them on that side. Gold anchors. So that's August. And then the last one is September. I did this like bright red geometric and then these green polka dots for September. So they're so cute. These are also double back, so there's 3 layers in here. There's the layer of stitching, then there's the layer of the first backing, and then the layer of the second backing. And so it was a lot of gluing, so much gluing, but I have some tips and tricks for you that I'm going to tell you in a minute. So these I'm going to display yet again on a piece I found at Hobby Lobby. This is not in the spring shop. They still have these if you go over to like the galvanized section. It's kind of in my Hobby Lobby, it's like heading back towards the frame shop. They have big tall displays that have galvanized stuff and like white, like my milk jug, what's that called? Can't remember. Anyway, enamel, there we go, white enamel stuff, and this is in the galvanized section, and this is, I believe, a cookbook stand. You can see it's got a little slot for your cookbook. It's just galvanized metal and it's kind of antiqued. You can see it's kind of rusty and crusty around the edges. Wasn't very expensive, and look at how it was just made for these guys. Ta-da! It's perfect. So that is what these guys will magnetize onto. Again, it's already metal. I don't have to put washers on them. The magnets will just stick directly to the metal. And down here, I can put a bow or something on here, and I can tuck some flowers, some floral pieces down in this little thing, or I can do them up in the top. I can move it down and not put anything in the bottom and just do a little decorative bit at the top, however I feel like doing it. So that one is September, and that's how I'm finishing those. So that was 9 more fully finished things that were all glued and assembled and are just waiting to be completely finished. So that's what 19 projects, pieces of stitching that I have fully finished in a flat finish, with the, you know, getting ready to be able to display them. I'm getting close to being done. I just need to do the embellishments and those will be done. So that's what I've worked on for the last week and a half. More than actual stitching has been finishing. While we're on this topic, let's give you a few of my tips and tricks. So what do I use? I use mat board. I get it at Hobby Lobby. You get a big old giant sheet for $9, and sometimes it's on sale, and if it's not on sale, use your 40% off coupon and you get a giant sheet for like $5. It's huge, and it's acid free. This is the acid free mat board. I always buy the acid free. You can buy mat board back by the frame shop, kind of, you know, along the back wall, at least in my store, and there's these big tall things with slots for all the mat board. But look for the acid free stuff. I just prefer to use acid free. It makes me feel better about it, but it probably doesn't matter. I just use the acid free stuff. I cut it using my rotary cutter and my quilting ruler. It makes very clean, straight cuts, and I get nice right angles. And yeah, if you're worried, buy a rotary cutter just to use on your mat board, but honestly, I use my rotary cutter for my mat board and for fabric, and it's fine. You might have to change your blade out more frequently, but who the heck cares? So this is what I use. Now, tip and trick for centering your stitching onto this and getting it perfectly straight all the way around. Big tip and trick. I use this stuff. This is spray adhesive, Loctite spray adhesive, General Performance. This is lightweight bonding, level 100 light, and look what it says, repositionable. This is clutch, okay? This is, let me look on here. Yeah, ideal for bonding paper, cardboard, foam, fabric, foil, leather, plastic, felt, cork, or bonding these materials to metal, glass, or wood. This is amazing. This stuff is not acid free, so if you're worried about that, then maybe don't use it, but I'm not worried about it, and this makes my life so much easier when I'm positioning my stitching, because what you do is you cut your mat board to the size that you need, you measure your stitching, you figure out how much of a border of fabric you want around the edge, and you cut your mat board. Okay, so say this is where my stitching is gonna go. I have a big old piece of poster board. You know those poster boards you can get at Walmart? They're just cardboard, but they like the sides fold in so it can stand up for like science fair projects. I have one of those, and that is my spray adhesive board. That is what I use for spraying everything. So I open it up and I lay my mat board on it, and I do a really light mist of this. You don't want any puddles. If you have puddles of this stuff, it will soak through your stitching. Ask me how I know that, and you will be able to see it. Learn from my mistakes. So no puddles, just a nice light misting of the spray adhesive on this board. Then you pick it up and you set your stitching on it. You do your best, best guess of positioning, and then you hold it up to a light, either a light fixture, or I like hold it up to the window, and you can see through your stitching fabric, and you can move it around and reposition it until it's perfectly centered on your mat board. Okay, you can slide it up, slide it down, and this adhesive is so lightweight it's very easy to move it around. And then when you have it perfectly centered using your window as your light source, then I put it down on my table. Take the adhesive board away because you don't want to get things sticky. I put it down on my table and I just press press the stitching down and it adheres it to the board. Now, it's very easy to peel it off the board. If you were to change your mind, even 3 days later, you can peel it right off. It's a very lightweight adhesive, but pressing it down just kind of keeps it in place so that I can then flip it upside down to glue the edges down on the back side without worrying about it shifting. Does that make sense? This stuff makes your life so much easier for getting your stitching perfectly centered on your mat board or your foam core or whatever you're mounting it on. I know some people use sticky board, and it's essentially the same thing as mat board and this stuff. I just find this is a little bit less sticky than sticky board, so it's a little bit more repositionable and a little more forgiving. So this is my biggest tip and trick for mounting your stitching on a piece of foam core or mat board or whatever. Use this and use a window or a lamp and use it. You can slide it around until it's absolutely perfect and then press it down and it holds it while you glue the back. Then for gluing the back side, I just use, like everybody and their brother, the Aleene's tacky glue in the gold bottle. I just bought a new bottle of this at Hobby Lobby because I used up my entire, I had a smaller bottle, but I finished up my entire bottle doing all of this finishing in the last 2 weeks, so I just bought a new one. This stuff, if you've never used it, is kind of like Elmer's glue. It comes out white and it dries clear. It is all-purpose adhesive. It's ultra strong, non-toxic, versatile and durable. It's just great. And it's the only thing about it that's different from Elmer's glue is it's a little bit thicker and tackier. So it's great for gluing fabric. It really holds the fabric down. But unlike hot glue, which you could also use to finish the back sides and to fold the edges of your piece down, glue them down, is this gives you a few more minutes to work with it. With hot glue, you got about 10 seconds and then it's stuck forever, because as soon as that glue cools, it's stuck, it's not moving. With this, because it's a liquid glue, it takes about 10 minutes to dry fully, and for the first 2 to 3 minutes, it's still very liquidy, and you can really slide and move and fix things, unstick it and fix it and really perfect it, which if you're a perfectionist like myself, this stuff is awesome. This will get glue all over your fingers during this process, so I keep a wet rag at my table. Got that from Vanna, the Twisted Stitcher. She recommends doing that. Keep a wet rag so you can wipe your fingers off frequently so you don't end up getting glue on the front side of your projects. And all I do, we'll use this one as an example. All I do is I glue down the sides first. With the tacky glue, I just run a thin line of glue onto the board and fold my fabric over and hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds until it's stuck. And then I do the tops and bottoms, and you can see I've kind of squidged them inward a little bit. I don't fold them straight down because then little bits of the folded fabric will peek out through the sides. And we don't want to see that on the front, right? We don't want any of that. We just want nice, clean edges. And so you fold it down and you kind of squidge it in, and you can see it kind of wrinkles up the fabric here on the back, but nobody's gonna see that. And it makes the front much cleaner. So I fold it down, again, running a thin line of glue, fold the fabric down, squidge in the corners, and then just kind of work the rest of the fabric down and hold it for about 10 seconds again until it's stuck. And that's it. That's what I do with the stitching. That's what I do with all of the backing pieces. That is how I do it. With the backing pieces, I typically don't use the spray adhesive because it's less vital that it be perfectly centered. But with my stitching, I definitely do. And that's a lot of gluing. That's a lot of Aleene's glue I use to do all this, but it allows you to be a bit of a perfectionist because you have a little bit of time to work with it before it's stuck. And then when I'm gluing my layers together, that's when I bust out the hot glue because I want a really firm, strong bond between the layers. And so I just put a dollop of glue on the back side. I'll show you again, a dollop of glue on the back side of each of the 4 corners. And then I center it over the piece that I'm gluing it onto and I press it down. And that's how I mount these. And they're great. They're very sturdy. They're nice and strong on the edges. They're nice, crisp, 90-degree corners with like no curving. So those are my best tips and tricks for finishing your pieces in a flat finish like that. I claim zero creativity on coming up with any of that. I did not come up with any of that. I got this primarily from Vanna and Priscilla Blaine, like I said, but those are just my tips to maybe make it a little bit easier on you if you're a perfectionist like me and you worry about it. Okay, that's enough about those fully finished things. I have a few more things to show you. I forgot, I have one more finish from Stitch Mania. I finished my summer seasonal celebrations by Country Cottage Needleworks. I had started this during the first week of Mania, and then I had pulled it out during my second week to work on a little bit more, and then towards the end of the month while I was at my parents' house, after I had worked on my start for that day, I would pull this out and work on this some more, and it's done. I did decide to go ahead and do the whole thing. Look at how cute it is. Okay, guys, my favorite part of this whole chart are these little ants down here. These are French knots. They're like these little, it's hard to see them, but they're so cute in real life. These little French knot ants. They're made up of French knots. Yeah, and that's it. That's my summer seasonal celebration. I stitched this on 32 count Belfast linen in the color Lemon Yellow by Zweigart. There you go. It's just a really pretty, like buttery, creamy yellow. And it looks so good with these threads, and it's so summery. So I'm thinking about how I'm gonna fully finish this one now, this series. This is another series of 4, one for each season. So I will probably do another magnets and washers or something where I can change them out with another flat finish, because that's just how I finish everything. I know how to do that finish. It's not the only finish I know how to do. I also know how to finish things in a pillow. And I do sometimes do pillows. But other than a pillow, that flat finish is the only finish I know how to do. So I'll do this one that way as well and find some kind of cute display board or something to put these on. But that one's done. I won't go through the colors again because I've shared the colors a few times. But I just went with very springy, or not springy, very summery, bright colors for this piece, and it's great. It's so cute. The last thing I spent any time working on was Liberty's Welcome, and I'm not even gonna pull out the picture to show you because my work on this has been kind of shamefully small. But it is on my big roll of frame dowels that I got from Bush Mountain Stitchery. I'm really excited to have these because I can work on a fat quarter of fabric long ways now on my roll of frame. And all I did is I added a few more rows of green here because I'm working on filling in the rest of this grass. So I did probably 2 lengths of silk on filling in green. And then you can see I started working on this border that's going up this side, which is very similar to this border over here. So I started working on that just with those little flowers in the red. I don't really have much to say about this. Someone asked me about the color changes that I did on this. I didn't change any of the colors on this piece except for the house. The house is the only thing I changed. So all the flowers, all of the borders, all of the motifs are done in the charted colors using the NPI silks. I did purchase the NPI silks for this piece. The only thing I did is that the house is charted in like a taupe, and it was too close to the color of my fabric. So I used the NPI silk white, and then the only other thing I did was I think I changed the color of the window frames and the columns here because they were charted to be white on the taupe, and I changed them to kind of the light aqua blue. It's a light aqua gray blue for the window panes and those columns. That is literally all I did, and those were colors already called for in the piece, so I didn't even have to buy any new NPI silks. I just used some of the silks that I already had for this piece and put them in a different spot, if that makes sense. But I didn't change the color of the roof, I didn't change the color of the door or the shutters or the chimneys or anything. I literally just changed the house to white and the columns and window panes to the light kind of gray blue aqua color. That's it. That's all I changed on Liberty's Welcome, because I've gotten so many emails from people. Can you share your color conversion? I love how yours looks. And honestly, there's not that much that I changed. If you have the NPI silks or the DMC conversion, in your hand, you can change the color of the house to white, and then those other things to that gray, blue, aqua, and that's it. That's my conversion. So anyway, that's the only other thing I worked on in the last 2 weeks. Like I said, I've mostly been fully finishing, gluing like a maniac, my poor little fingers. They're starting to recover. It's been a few days, but I don't know if you can see, like, it's not gonna focus, but there's like peeling along the edges of my fingers because so much pulling and stretching and gluing and then rubbing the glue off with the wet cloth, and it just, yeah. So those of you who finish for people, I'm mad impressed because it's a lot of work and it's exhausting. After finishing 19 things, I was done for a while. Last but not least, I have one little bit of haul. I just got my threads from Victorian Motto for the month of May. I'm not even going to go through them because you've probably seen them in other people's videos. But my last thing that I want to do is I want to do another giveaway. This time I'm going to specify that this giveaway is for United States only. Sorry for those of you who are out of the country. Anna did receive her package from mybobbin.com. It came to her home in St. Petersburg, and so she is working on her package. So hi Anna, I'm glad you got your package. But for this giveaway, because I'm going to send something, I want to keep this to US only. But a couple of weeks ago, in my last video, I shared that a sweet subscriber, Leanne, sent me a few hands-on design charts. I decided to keep the winter one with the big snowmen. I'm keeping that one, but I've decided to share, and she gave me permission to do this, I've decided to share this one with one of you guys. This is Fresh Eggs Farm. This is another collaboration between Hands-On Design and Priscilla Blaine. This one was from 2018, and this is the spring one. There are 4 in this series as well, in these Chalk on the Farm is the series. Chalk on the Farm, and this is the springtime one, Fresh Eggs Farm. So cute. It also has a little top piece you can make separately. So I'm going to share this with one of you. I want to give this away to one of you guys, along with a piece of fabric, perhaps to stitch it on, perhaps for something else, and a few threads. And so once again, I'm going to ask you in this video if you would please just enter to enter the giveaway. Just put a comment in the comment section of this video and let me know what your favorite fabric and flosses are. Again, are you a linen, an Aida, even weave like Lugana or Monaco stitcher? Do you like stitching on black or dark gray, or do you prefer to do things like this on a lighter color fabric? Because sometimes dark fabrics can be a challenge. Do you like DMC? Do you like overdyed cottons? Do you like silks? Do you like one particular baker of threads? Just put that down in the comments section, and I'm gonna draw, and this is just for US only, and I'm gonna do in my next video, we will draw for a winner to receive Fresh Eggs Farm as well as some fabric and thread from myself, and this is from Leanne, so thank you Leanne, and it'll go to one of you guys. So thank you for joining me today. This was a long video. I had a lot to show you, but thanks for joining me. I hope your Stitch Mania went well if you did Stitch Mania. If you didn't, I hope your May stitching was just wonderful, and I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're healthy and happy and safe and finding ways to stay sane. The world is crazy right now, and I'm not going to talk about it because it makes me sad. Makes my heart hurt, and I don't like to talk about sad things on my video, but I'm finding solace in 3 things, I suppose. I'm finding solace in my Savior, I'm finding solace in my family, and I'm finding solace in my stitching. So I hope you are finding ways to stay sane and just love one another, be kind. The world is crazy, and it makes me so sad, and I think we all just have a responsibility to be kind to one another and give each other give each other grace the way we are each given grace ourselves. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I love you guys, take care, and I will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks with another update, okay? Bye!